Welcome to Envisioning Success, the weekly podcast that's your prescription for business clarity. In today's episode, we dive deep into the art of selling with integrity for long-term growth. Join Laura DiBenedetto and Julia Becker Collins as they share personal experiences, emphasizing the crucial role of honesty and transparency in sales. Discover how maintaining integrity leads to positive outcomes in challenging sales situations.
Hello. Welcome to Envisioning Success. I'm Laura DiBenedetto, joined with Julia Becker Collins. And today we're making you rich. That's what we're doing, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's the goal with all of our episodes. Make more money.
That's true. So listen, y'all are in for a treat because I'm feeling really punchy and basically like every other episode. So we are working very hard to stop saying the word and we will need to get a dinger for that. So every time one of us says ding.
I feel like we need to be attached to like electroshock or something.
Get out of my head.
Now every time I listen to our episodes, I'm just like, oh.
Full body cringe. God. Well, I'm going to see how long it takes before I say that awful word. This episode is all about integrity at the forefront and the foundation of trustworthy sales. Our theme this month is selling with integrity for long-term growth. Julia and I have the shared love language of integrity. I can't stand grimy salesmanship. It's gross. It's disgusting. Get it off me. Damn it. I failed. I said, crap. It's going to be a fun episode, guys. Real fun. So I'm telling you, get the electroshock. I'll stop real quick. I know. So yeah, some people can be really gross in sales process. And there we go again. There's a huge thing about lawyers and marketers sitting beside each other on a bench in hell. Yeah. So there's just a lot of lies in sales, and we do things the high integrity way. We've told people, nope, you can't buy from us. No, that's a horrible idea. No, you don't need to spend that much. And that's the way we want to help you. Whatever you're selling, we want to help you absolutely crush it in whatever it is that you do in a high integrity kind of way. So we got some fun stuff to talk about today, but just a little housekeeping. This show is sponsored by Vision. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary. We are a marketing company. We kick ass. We help established businesses to create even bigger success and to help you to get to that next level. If you want to buy a company, exit your company, just grow the stuffings out of it, we're going to help you do all that. So if you want to check us out, go to vision-advertising.com. Do the whole like, subscribe, share, rate, review, do all the things, all of it. I think that's probably the whole laundry list, but shower us with the love because we need it.
And if you want to see me and Laura be silly, you can find us on YouTube. All of the episodes are on YouTube, and you could subscribe there as well.
Yeah. I even put makeup on for you guys. I was all about messy bun and sweatpants today, but then I checked my calendar. I'm like, nope.
Yes, we are rocking the business mullet, business on top, PJs on the bottom.
Really?
Yes. What do you think I've been wearing for almost 4 years?
I don't know. I've started to forget that you had a bottom half. It's been so long I've been in person with you. You're just like this weird half person.
If you go way back in our Instagram feed, you'll see everybody's pants because we all wear the business mullet.
Huh. Mm-hmm. I'm wearing jeans today.
Hard pants, no.
I know, gross.
Speaking of trying to not say and just like in sales, we're trying to be transparent and do things with integrity. So we're calling ourselves out on that. But to dovetail off of what you started talking about earlier and the importance of integrity in the sales relationship, the first thing that came to my mind was having those open and honest conversations up front so that you can help to establish trust with the client, and so that they want to work with you for a very long time.
Absolutely. It really sets the stage. I love the way you said that. I think that there's always a temptation. I remember being the young business owner and I wanted to make sales. I mean, y'all, I started this at 19 years old. I mean, I didn't even warrant having a driver's license. I've looked back at old little baby face me and I'm like, who let you drive a car? Never mind run a business. And when you're younger, you just don't know as many things. And I remember the temptation to just say whatever I could say to close the sale. It's also not how I roll. Integrity has served me better over the years, but also it's helped me to keep my clients for literally decades. And I think it's really important when you have this incredible integrity between your marketing, which is what we talked about a lot in the last several episodes, and transitioning into that sales conversation, and you are consistent. It really just it leads to major trust building at every single step. When they first discover you, remember that whole funnel from last episode or the one before? They have to be aware of you, then they have to feel something that's influence, and then engage. Well, and then conversion. All of those steps should be a trust building exercise for you. And the more you can have it consistent and having that high integrity vibe across everything, the more you're going to get people being honest about their objections, honest about what's working and what's not. So when you guaranteed screw up at some point in the relationship, your client will tell you and give you the opportunity to make it right. So there's a whole life cycle here.
Absolutely. And so that we're all on the same page, Laura, how would you define integrity in sales?
Integrity in sales is being ridiculously honest at all times, no matter what. Your job is to be your client or customer's hero, and you're supposed to advocate for them. When I think about our clients and our relationships with people who do business with us, I mean, I've said this a million times, people do not know how to buy from us. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know how to get a great website. They don't know how to get a great marketing plan. My job as a high integrity person is to teach you how to buy the right thing for you, even if I'm not the right provider of said thing. That's high integrity. Is all options are good as long as they are correct. And even if it's not me, that's the outcome I'm going to support.
Absolutely. Do you have an example where maintaining integrity led to a positive outcome in a challenging sales situation? I feel like challenging is very diplomatic in that question.
I mean, yeah, like all of them. I think that when people are considering doing any marketing at all, it can be scary, especially if they've never done it before, and this is kind of a unique thing that we get at Vision is clients who've been in business for a very, very long time, have been seriously successful and have never done marketing. They've just done sales. And they're like, well, why the hell do I need marketing? Because you might not like to do this forever and maybe like to replace yourself. That is such a scary jump. And I mean, having the integrity to give people bad news during the sales process is, it's hard, but it's necessary. I'll give you a few examples of that. So having to say to the person who doesn't want to be involved, I'm really sorry, you actually have to participate in meetings. And you're welcome to hate me and you're welcome to bring beer, but you still have to show up.
Yes, I would like to co-sign that example, please.
Or, sorry, man, you actually have to answer emails. Y'all, I wish you could see the look on Julia's face. It was a pained look.
I hate email. I hate it.
Listen, I'm the one getting yelled at. Laura, answer your damn emails. I know.
Fair.
So there's also more than that. It's, hey, I can see that you just tried really hard to record this video. It was not your best, but I can help you do better. Giving honest but not entirely favorable feedback during the sales process can seem like a super scary thing to do. But I think it's really important because sometimes people think they're really crushing it and doing a great job at something and they're not. And they have these blind spots, at least in our industry. That's true for us. Whatever, again, your customers probably don't know how to buy from you either. So uncovering someone else's blind spots, pointing out their weaknesses. Nobody likes to feel weak. Nobody likes to feel like they're not doing an awesome job or they have to show up and do stuff they don't want to do. I would say those are consistent examples that I face a lot.
I would agree. And I think the other part of that is just like with marketing, it doesn't end once you close the sale. Sales needs to continue through the relationship. So that integrity needs to be there in the beginning, the middle, and the end. It needs to be there in the initial sales process, in the upsell process, in the continued relationship. It needs to be a part of every aspect of the relationship so that you can keep the client. As we have discussed, keeping a client costs far less than finding a new client.
Amen, sister. Yep, I'm going to worship at that church. Not only that, but that's how you get referrals.
Mm-hmm.
So you keep your client and you get bonus clients because you were being a good doobie. Honesty is important. I mean, I remember, I don't know if Julia, you were this little girl, but I was a little girl that used to get in trouble all the time and do bad stuff. And I didn't have siblings or a dog to blame it on. It was like, did you do it? Well, yep. Wasn't anybody else. I'm going to blame it on the cat. I tried that literally once and I still think about it to this day. Did not work. But the thing about that is my mother always said to me, if you tell me the truth, you'll be in less trouble than doubling down and lying about it. And turning this into the business situation, sometimes people just avoid because truth makes them uncomfortable, or they try to sugarcoat instead of being very direct. Julia and I are, at this point, grizzled New Englanders, even though she's from California and I'm in Florida. We're still grizzled New Englanders, and we're just frighteningly blunt, but we do it in a very kind and supportive way. We believe deeply in truth in all things. And if you hate it, sorry, we'll do the best to cushion the blow for you. But I can't make you not hate it. All I can do is try to soften the blow for you.
Absolutely. I have had multiple conversations with current clients and in the sales process where I'll give you an example from just recently. We just closed a really big account, which was very exciting. And one of the questions that came up during the sales process is he asked me if he was spending enough money, which, to be fair, and like I'm sure everybody listening is going, I wish I had that conversation all the time. But I could have absolutely taken advantage of that and said, you should be spending double, blah, blah, blah. But that's not my goal. My goal is to have a very long-term relationship where this client invests with us through multiple years. And that's not going to play well if I try to double the investment now, but then in the short term, he's not happy because he doesn't feel like he's getting his money's worth.
Right.
Being as transparent, open, and honest with integrity in the initial sales process and as we serve the client will help to bring that client forward into many years of success.
Yeah, you nailed it. You did a really great job with bringing the client on board, but also bringing them on in a really high integrity way that obviously is our love language. I think regarding the way you brought it on, the way you handled that question, I was similarly shocked. Wow, love that question. But you answered him correctly the first time, which is, this is what you should be investing based on where you are. Let's get some success. So where you'll be bigger and then maybe you'll need to invest more later. But the right answer doesn't stop being the right answer no matter what.
Correct. This client is looking to expand their geographic footprint. So say they move into additional, 3 states. Yes, let's change around what we're doing and expand, and you should invest further. But for right now, just like you said, Laura, this is where you should be. And that is why I have proposed this. And it just says a lot about the industry, whether it's marketing or service providers or sales in general, that he was questioning it like he thought I was trying to pull the wool over his eyes. And I hear things like that all the time, but when people get very excited about the honesty you're giving them, they're more apt to buy from you. They're more apt to trust you. And like you said, more apt to refer additional business.
For sure. So what do you think are some ways that integrity impacts client perception and loyalty?
Yeah, that's a great question. Having integrity and, like you said earlier, saying when you make a mistake, being really transparent about it. Could be a billing mistake, could be a service provider mistake, could be that you forgot to respond to an email because, hi, I hate email and it fell to the bottom of my list. Exactly, both of us. And rather than waiting for the client to call you on the mistake, 99.9% of the time, it is so much better if you say, hey, I found this mistake that I made. I take ownership and responsibility for said mistake, and here is how I have already fixed it for you. But if you would like to discuss it further, I will absolutely make myself available. I want to make sure that you feel comfortable. And I have to tell you, after being with Vision for 7 years, which is insane to me, 7 years, and 13 years of marketing experience prior to that, that method is really well proven to help elongate the success of that relationship and have the client trust you further because you were very upfront, open, and honest and said, hey, without being prompted, I take responsibility for the mistake that I made. We're all human. Here is how I have already fixed it, and I will make myself available, like I said. So it's been huge in maintaining relationships.
That is huge. I love the way you said that. Thank you for that. I think that for anyone listening to this, if this seems like a foreign concept in business, let's relate it to something personal so it really makes sense. Most of our clients, partners, staff are in serious relationships. And when you're in a serious relationship with someone, what's the most important thing? Trust. And nobody's perfect, but if your partner makes a mistake and every single time they make a mistake, they bring it to you first, are you going to be less inclined or more inclined to trust that you are safe with them?
Absolutely. I agree.
And, I mean, what are we at the end of the day but service and product providers? And what is that? At its simplest form, it is solution providers.
Exactly.
So I have another question. How do you ensure that your sales approach and mine and everybody's on the team remains aligned with our core values and brand messaging, and how do other people do that?
That, again, great question. So part of that has to do with internal training of the staff and the leadership to make sure everybody is on the same page about brand messaging, that we all understand what we should be talking about. In a previous episode, we discussed training your staff on the brand, on key phrases, on key messaging, and that absolutely translates here as well. If you are setting people up for success with the tools that they need to be effective and efficient communicators with integrity and staying, like you said, on brand in terms of the company's values, they have the tools in their toolbox to answer those questions, whether it is in that initial sales process, in an upselling situation, or in ongoing client relationships. So part of that is, like I said, setting people up for success. Part of it is also expectation setting with your staff. Anybody that is external facing whatsoever in any capacity needs to understand that the expectation is there to stay on message. This is how we as a company talk about things. These are the key phrases we use. You don't need to be a robot and just reiterate what somebody else said, but having the same feeling to it, using the same phrases, the key terms, etc., and keeping in communication with the people that have this external facing role, seeing what pushback they're getting, what challenges are they facing, and how can you as a leader help guide them and give them the tools so that they can work within the brand and with integrity, but be able to have these great open and honest conversations.
Amen to that. I think to add to that, there's also there's a real deep knowing about your avatar that we've talked about before, but it's also knowing how your avatar likes to be spoken to. Our avatar is more down to earth, very comfortable speaking plainly and bluntly. Now imagine if we as a company were start all of a sudden being ultra formal and ultra corporate, infusing lots and lots of $50 words, which, I mean, they're fun to joke about in a podcast episode. We've had a few of those. But more sincerely, like if we have this real like stiff corporate arm's length type of behavior with someone, meanwhile, all of our branding has been super familiar and very warm and inviting, that's not great. So making sure that every single person on the team is trained really, really well to deeply understand the avatar and how they like to be spoken to and what the entire brand experience should be. That's huge. I think that, Julia, you've done a really kick-ass job at getting it 100% clear to the whole team how every single one of our clients likes to be spoken to. So we have a consistent vision experience. It sounds crazy. I feel like there needs to be a little invisible TM on vision experience, but it's not stiff. It's not, corporate and formal with all these layers and red tape. We're very easy to access. We're very accessible. We're very open. We're very direct, transparent. That's a huge part of our branding. I think to even add more, I mean, just everything that you said just made me think of this. And I think it also calls into who you hire. If you hire
Absolutely.
people who are organically a good brand alignment because they also embody these values, they don't have to try so hard.
I totally agree. Part of this goes into the screening process when hiring and recruiting. And I know that we're going to have a future episode specifically about employee retention and employee recruitment. I can't talk. But part of that process needs to include making sure that they are consistent with the brand. Not that they need to know who you are to begin with, but are they a good representative of the brand? Do they embody your values in general? Do you feel that you could train them and give them the proper tools to be able to represent your brand externally? I mean, obviously it's a different conversation if it's somebody who only interfaces internally, but for everybody that is outward facing, which is everybody on our team, they need to be able to kind of toe that brand line and understanding, the moldability of somebody and how malleable they are to accepting that kind of leadership.
Mm-hmm. I just remember bringing everybody on board, and the folks that I hired, you being one of them, I remember specifically looking for things that even at the time I didn't realize. I built vision all around the avatar. So the people that we serve, our entire agency is staffed for that person. Like, you and I speak fluently to our avatar. It was so easy to bring you on board. I was like, ooh, yes, please. I need some Julia in my life. She speaks avatar. She gets it. And I didn't even fully understand that that's what I was going for at the time. But you've done the same thing. I've seen you bring on other staff members who embody a lot of those same qualities, like the, more down to earth approach. That's huge. People want to be spoken to in a very easy, relaxed manner. And I love our staff for that.
Oh, so do I.
Great.
They're incredible. I could talk about how amazing our staff is all day.
We could have a staff adulation episode if you want.
That only our staff listens to.
Yeah, nobody else cares, but we do.
So before we wrap up this topic, Laura, what advice would you give leaders in balancing aggressive targets with ethical practices?
That's an awesome question. Dang, we got some good ones today. I think it comes down to being aggressively high integrity and being so bold with who you are and so clear about what you stand for that you are unwavering and you just get louder and louder and louder about it. So you're able to have more people at the top of your funnel. You're able to get more referrals because you are so freaking authentic, so honest, so high integrity. Honestly, your amazingness and your integrity will be a magnet and catnip for other people that want exactly what you are. Listen, mom was right. Be yourself. Shout out to you, Barbara.
There you go, Babsy. Thanks.
That's all we got. So thank you for all these questions and great insight, Julia. This is honestly going to be a really great month. We're going to be talking about more sales stuff. Next episode, we're going to be talking about consistency in your communication and the key to effective sales messaging. So we're going to be diving deeper into this. Stay tuned for that. If you need to catch up on some episodes and learn what the hell an avatar is, I know we don't mean the big blue people. Make sure that you rewatch some of the episodes or re-listen. Thanks in advance for rating, reviewing, subscribing, doing all the things that help us to bring this great free content to you. Again, check out vision-advertising.com if you need any sort of love. And I think that puts a bow on it. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, fabulous listener. And we will see you next time.